right, good evening, everyone. I'll call the Financial Services Committee meeting to order. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Mi'kma'ki, the unceded and ancestral territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Any emergency resolutions this evening? Any emergency resolutions this evening? Okay, seeing none. Need approval of the agenda, please. Moved by Councillor Boyles, second by Councillor Turner. Yeah, so seconded, that's what I thought. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Next, we have errors and omissions corrections to the minutes of June 15th, 2026. Any errors, omissions, corrections to those minutes? Any errors, omission, corrections? Seeing none, we'll consider those minutes approved. There's no correspondence this evening. Moving on to our reports not requiring a motion. First, we have the communications report for the month of June. Comments or questions on the communication report for the month of June? Seeing none. Recreation report. Any questions or comments on the recreation report? Okay, seeing none. Next, we have the Warden's report. This is again for the month of June. Any questions or comment? Go ahead, Councillor Warden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just one question, Robert, on that. I'm just wondering if you were able to mention to the Waste Management Group or the shared services about the 3-bin collection, if that's possible for our area.
Yes, I did bring that up, and there was discussion around the table, and Earl Cameron, runs the landfill, was going to look into it.
Okay.
There wasn't a lot of optimism, I guess, to be honest, about it because of cost, I think, more than anything, and but there was some discussion about, well, maybe people could buy their own bins, as opposed to for the county to bring in two more bins on top of the green bin would be a lot of cost to the municipalities. But Earl said there's nothing against using them now, which I know there's people in my community that you have all 3 bins. He said they don't discriminate; they pick everything up the same. But he was going to do some costing and stuff on it, I think, and look into what's being done. It has come up at the regional chairs from time to time too, but it's I think it's usually a cost thing. And there was mention one time about, well, we use a lot of bags. We're trying to get rid of, one cycle plastic or whatever, and we use a lot of bags, and if we had these bins, but I guess with the garbage anyway, you still have the bags inside of the bins, so you really don't save on the bags, because otherwise you got too much junk left in the bottom of the bins. So it's being looked at, but don't have any news other than that, but I'll follow up on the next time we meet and see.
I think one of the other suggestions was even if the county could buy them and let the
bulk buy them and then let the customers,
it would be a cheaper way of purchasing them for the residents. So.
Something like that might work, but like I say, it's still just being looked at by Earl right now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further comments or questions on the Warden's report? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Tax Receivable Report. As you see, the deed transfer tax. Nope, this is they're switched. So did we share what we had talked about at audit? Collectibles? So we had some good news I'll pass along. It pertains to this at our audit committee. I don't know, Councillor Warden, you're the chair. Do you want to speak to our collectible taxes that we've, not to put you on the spot, but or Brian can, or whatever. We'll let Brian do it. Okay, sounds good.
Sure. So the report that you have in front of you, year-over-year comparison We're at 6,303,435 at the end of June, compared to 6,319,734 last year. So we're plus or minus $16,000 ahead. But when you look at the year-over-year taxes that were billed, there's about $1 million in the difference. So we're actually, when you look at year-over-year, we're about $1 million ahead of where we would have been last year, type thing. So, yeah, so the collection efforts are going well. I would categorize it that way. So,
That's wonderful news. Okay, any further comments or questions on the taxes receivable report? All right, seeing none, we'll move along to our transfer tax report. As you can see, we're still collecting significantly, a bit down from last year, but still collecting significant amount. Okay, let's move along to reports requiring a motion. We'll move along to accounts payable for the month of June 2026. Can I have a motion, please, councillors?
So moved.
Moved by Warden Parker. Seconded by Councillor Palmer. We'll open the floor up to any comments or questions on the accounts payable for the month of June. Go ahead, Councillor Warden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just on check number 25438, it's only for $1,600, but I'm just not sure what total amount, what that would be.
25438, it's the Tomorrow Cat Maritimes office in Priestville.
oh, that's our generator.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, the company that repairs generator, Tormont Cat, as in caterpillar.
Caterpillar, okay. All right, any further comments or questions on the accounts payable for the month of June? Seeing no further comments or questions, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Next, we have the water utility for the month of June. Can I have a motion, please, councillors? Moved by Councillor Warden. Seconded by Councillor MacDonald. Open the floor up to any comments or questions. Comments or questions on the water utility report? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Next, we have internet accounts payable for the month of June. Thanks. It's been moved by Councillor Turner. Seconded by Deputy Warden Murray. Open the floor up to any comments or questions. Any comments or questions? All right, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. All right, moving on to business items or items requiring action. So the first one is a District 2 Municipal Service Grant for Little Harbour Community Center, and this is for building upgrades in the amount of $16,000, or 1,600, sorry. 16,000, I was right,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, sounds good. Moved by Councillor Warden and seconded by Councillor Bailey. Any questions or comments on the municipal service grant request? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Next, we have a municipal service grant request for District 4 from the River John Recreation. This is in the amount of $5,250, and this is for ball field upgrades. Okay, it's been moved by Counselor Bailey, seconded by Counselor Parker. Any comments or questions on the request? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, nay. Motion carried. Okay, next we have a District 6 Municipal Service Grant for Stillman Cemetery. And this is in the amount of $2,000, and it's for maintenance.
So moved.
Moved by Warden Parker. Seconded by Counselor Turner. Any comments or questions on the District 6 Municipal Service Grant request? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Okay, next we have municipal service grants from District 8. There are 4 requests. The first is from Abercrombie Cemetery Company in the amount of $9,000. This is for maintenance and headstone repair. Then we have Abercrombie Community Center in the amount of $8,376 for maintenance of center and groundwork. Alma Cemetery for $6,743.80 for maintenance and headstone repair, and Mount William Cemetery $3,592 for maintenance, for a grand total of $27,711.80. Moved by Counselor Turner. Seconded by Warden Parker. Any comments or questions on those requests? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Okay, next we have District 12 Municipal Service Grant requests. Perfect. Been moved by Counselor Dewar. Seconded by Counselor Palmer. So we have 6 requests here, if I'm correct. We do. The first one is for East River Valley Community Development Association in the amount of $5,500 for the Riverton Hall News and Newsletter. Then we have East River Valley Recreation, $2,000 for children's programming. Elgin Cemetery, $1,500 for maintenance. Hopewell Cemetery, $1,500 for maintenance. Friends of Iona Park, $1,000 for maintenance. And Lorne Community Hall, $5,500 for upkeep and operations of Hall, for a grand total of $17,000. Any comments or questions regarding these municipal service grants requests? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Okay, so next we're going to move on to our Community Recreation Program operating grants. So the approval of 3 recreation grants for youth programs. Those requests include UC Friends Lead, $1,500. Should we do these separately? These motions separately? Or together? Do them together? Okay, so we have funding requests for UC Friends Group in the lead in the amount of $1,500. And when we have the Little Harbour Community Center lead in the amount of $3,400, and then the Lismore Community Center lead for $2,500. So they're all for the kind of the same programming, just in different locations. It's been moved by Councillor MacDonald, seconded by Councillor Warden. Any questions or comments for these operating grants from Recreation? Go ahead, Councillor Warden.
Is the funding available with the Recreation for those grants? As I was trying to find out, reading through the material.
Go ahead, Sue-Ann.
That fund has a budget of $8,000, but you also have like startup grants that come out of it, smaller ones, that type of thing. So it will take a fair bit out of it, but there'll still be some left.
Okay.
Thank you. Deputy Warden Murray.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the approval is $1,000 each, 25, 26. Is that what we're approving in the motion, or is it requested? Okay, sorry, 26, 27. Sorry.
Yes, it's weird to think it's 26, 27. It takes a second, doesn't it? Yes, for sure. Okay, so the 1,500, 3,400, and 2,500 for the 3 different programs. Okay, we clear on that? Go, you want to have another question, Deputy Warden?
Thank you. So that's only going to leave us with very, very little. That's going to empty it right out. I don't know if we should be doing that this early in the game. We should think about cutting that back, I think, but I'm not sure. That would be my concern.
Warden Parker?
I guess I have a similar concern to the deputy warden. Oh, wait, no, I guess I'm not on here yet. A similar concern to the deputy warden, when I heard Sue Ann say we had 8 in total, and this adds up to 7,400. The other question I had was, is this based on the number of youth or whatever, or why the difference between 1,000 each last year and this year, the varying amounts, like one is more than double the other? What's the reasoning behind the different amounts?
I think it's just how they determine their program costs, but I'm not 100% sure.
Because I think it is something we need to look at in terms of running us down to $600, I guess, left, whether we should be giving the same amount to each, or that may not be fair, because I don't know what it's based on.
Okay, so the request totals 7,400, which leaves us $600 left in, I guess, that box for programming operating grants for until next March 31st. Go ahead, Councillor Warden.
Just to say, these are great programs, and I understand that, and they are well received in the communities, and we're always trying to encourage more youth development in our communities. But I'm just wondering if we shouldn't maybe reach out and just either hold this or table this, or find out like what the differences in the requests are, because if it's the same program, I'm really leaning towards each of them getting the same amount of money, but at the same time, they may be doing different things. I'm not sure. I mean, Little Harbour looks pretty well thought out and that sort of thing. I could say all do it, but it just leaves us really short with the recreation money, and I'm just worried that we're going to deplete that fund before we even get into the year. So,
Yeah.
so I don't know. Can I request to table it to get more information, or? Yeah, that's what I'm, just to get more information from the three groups that are looking for the money, if we could do that.
So you'd like to table it?
I don't know if we table it or.
Typically, we don't get a whole lot of other requests. These are the 3
Oh, is it? Okay.
groups that we've supported in the past.
But you also have your startup grants, your leadership grants, your community, like your 750 to your communities. Does that come out of that fund as well, correct?
Let's see, budget. Budget here. Yeah, I guess if that's the case, you want to reduce it.
Just 1 second here. Brian's getting that information up for us.
So we take, what else do we take out of that?
Sorry, I included the policy in the package, but it's startup grants for $350,
Okay,
community recreation program grants for $750, leadership grants can go up to $300 each.
yeah, capital is a separate one,
Yeah.
So that's for all the programming then?
yeah.
Okay.
If the money's there, they have no problem approving it, but I just want to make sure we don't make the funding short for the recreation. Because like I said, they're great programs. I know it's really well received in Little Harbour, so I have no problem supporting it. But I just don't want to see the other communities left out of recreation.
Okay. Okay, yep, no, absolutely. Okay, perfect. Counselor Bailey?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess it seems strange to me that there's only been 3 applying for these for the last 3 years. I'm sure there's a lot more youth groups out there. And it's either they don't know about it, which I feel must be what it is, but when we look at the policy which Suzanne just read, there's nothing says that we can give this kind of money, is there? It says applicants are eligible for 50% of the cost, training to a maximum of 300. Second one is amount of 300 or less. 300, maybe I'm missing something there, said 750. I don't see where these fall under. I guess that's my question.
It's on the bottom. Councillor Bailey, annual operating assistance assists with the general operating expenses to an organization or specific recreation program. I think it falls under that.
Okay.
And there's no specific amount, where the others do have a specific amount. I mean, basically how it's come is it's first come, first served, so when the 8,000 is up, it's up.
So it doesn't even say organization or annual operating assistance, doesn't even say youth.
No.
I guess I get no problem with voting for this, but I think we got to look at this at some time later to ensure that we put a better understanding in there or something. Because to me, I feel that other organizations don't know about it, and I guess that's their fault. But still, I think it's an awful lot of money for when we only give 1,000 for startup, which is probably a harder job than a continuance program. Thank you.
Okay. Counselor Palmer?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So out of this, Sue-Ann, is the recreation grants, right? $750? So there's $3,000 right there, right? Those groups are already up and running. And these are good programs because I know the one in Thornton, things like that. So, and I agree, we can't, if we have $8,000 in the budget, we can't give it all out in one evening, right? So I'd like to make an amendment motion that we pay them the same as last year, $1,000 each.
Do you have a seconder? Okay, so we have an amendment to the motion to give them $1,000 each instead of the original, which would be $3,000, compared to the initial $7,400. Okay, go ahead, Warden Parker.
I turned it off.
Press it again.
I have to turn it on there. Green again, see if we get rid.
There you go.
There we go. I would support that amendment. I would just like to hear if anybody knows why they increased as much as they did, from last year at 1,000. What was the reasoning behind, 3 different amounts, but one is 1,500, but 25 was it, and 34. If you consider the year before that, they were somewhat higher, and then they went down to 1,000 each. Was that because of the budget? That was all that was available, or was that just what was asked for?
From what I recall, I believe they asked for more
And we
last year.
kept them to
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I would support then the amendment in order to reserve enough money. If we want to look at next year's budget and say, well, if we want to give more, then we have to set a higher amount than the 8,000 in total in order to have enough to help the various groups. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Counselor Warden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I won't be able to support the amendment because I would like to find out what the differences is between the groups. I mean, with Little Harbour looking for 34, obviously, I know the depth and the scope of that program, so I don't want to see it not be able to survive or be able to go through this year because of the importance it is to the community, but I would like to know why the discrepancies between the three groups. So whether it's more in-depth in Little Harbour, like I'm not really sure, but I'd prefer to find out why the discrepancies over giving them a set amount of $1,000 when the request is for much more from at least two groups.
Okay, thank you. Counselor Thompson.
Yeah, thank you. I guess, so that $750 that's for the recreation programs, the full-time programs, that comes out of that $8,000? So right there, we're over budget. And there's a lot of effort to put in those full-time programs. If you get a provincial student, they only cover $10 an hour. You got to make up the rest. So even the $750 that we get doesn't even cover that cost of that student for those full-time programs. So I don't know why this came to council this way, because the math doesn't add up right now. We're going to be over budget if we approve that suggestion there. I mean, we're back down to 1,000, but why did it come to us this way? It's I don't know. It's kind of confusing, but like I'm of the belief that $750 that the full-time programs get for the summer programs, they're looking after kids for 8 weeks, and even that, they'll take whatever they can get, these groups, but even that's not enough. Like, I'm puzzled as to why it came to us presented this way, that's all.
Can I provide a clarification on that?
Go right ahead, Sue Ann.
So the $750, that's not automatic to those groups. They need to make a request for it as well. And sometimes recreation groups don't come forward for that funding. So, yeah.
They don't apply for that grant until the end of the program, so because they have to submit their final reports.
But-
So those programs don't submit for that $750 until August at the earliest.
But
So,
we have had some that did not apply.
yeah, but they're entitled to that money, and they need that money, and they should apply.
Yep.
So,
Okay,
And these are solely based on the requests brought forward by the groups. They're not recommendations, they're just what was requested.
okay. All right, thank you for the clarification. Go ahead, Counselor MacDonald.
Through you, Ms. Chair. Are these vetted by Recreation, or are they just, like, or are they just put forward to the body?
Vetted in terms of the program. I know Cindy's very familiar with these programs and what they do and who runs them.
Yeah, I was just wondering, because the $8,000 and we're spending 74 right now, but I thought there were more for other things into the budget and that stuff, but I think they would vet it before. Thank you.
Okay, Counselor Boyles.
I just concerned, like the way the Councillor Bailey had said that a lot of people like you don't know about them, where it's the same ones all the time. And I think, we should be doing something, get it out there to let other organizations know that this is there for them, and if they want to apply, they should not saying they're going to get it, but they surely should be able to get the, as well as anybody else, to apply for them. Thank you.
Thank you. And Counselor Palmer to finish this off.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just on that, I know a little bit about Thornton one. It's a youth group and things like that, and it's done in the church. And I do believe the difference Councillor Warden, is that these are volunteers. And I noticed the other two groups, they take in instructors and presenters, and they pay out $2,000 for that. One group pays $2,000, the other one pays $1,300. So one's volunteer and one's not a volunteer. The information's there about the program, totally different programs. Like, it's not the same program for each group. It's different. So I don't think by asking for more information that we're going to get anything different than what we already received. So, and where the fund only has $8,000, and I know the recreation groups, there's 4 of them, and I know our group would be applying for the $750, like Councillor Thompson said. We're paying $3,000 for a summer student that through the provincial program. So it takes a lot of money to run those programs, and $750 does help, that's for sure. But if we only have $8,000, I don't think we should be giving the whole thing away in one evening. And as far as other groups, you know, they can look at our policies and come up and see what we have for grants and things like that. So I don't think we have to advertise any more than what we already do. So thank you.
Okay. All right. First, we're going to deal with the amendment to the motion, and the amendment to the motion was that we grant each of the 3 organizations $1,000 each, like we did last year. Okay? All right, so let's start with the amendment. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Nays, raise your hand, please. Just 2, Councillor MacDonald and Councillor Warden. Motion carried. So I don't have to do my motion.
Now you have to vote on the main motion. Did you vote on the main motion?
No, I just voted on the amendment.
So now you vote on the main motion.
So the main motion was to grant them the original $7,400.
So your main motion now is the amended.
Is now is the amendment, okay. So, let's go back to the motion. On the floor is to grant each organization $1,000. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. 2 nays, Councillor Warden, Councillor MacDonald. Motion carried. Okay, next we're going to move on to coastal protection recommendations. Staff is recommending C&D Community Design be awarded the contract to support public engagement for the development of coastal properties and adaptation strategies. So you see in your package that you received, we had 3, I guess, companies, firms apply, consulting firms apply. WSP, W6, and C&D. Their summaries and scores are there, and so based on the firm score, MOP recommends the council accept the tender of C&D Community Design as presented in their proposal for a total value of $24,000 excluding HST. Moved by Councillor Turner, seconded by Councillor Warden. Did you want to add something in there? Oh. I just saw your name here. Warden Parker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Maybe I missed it here somewhere, but are these local companies, or where are these companies from? They just have letters and numbers to them?
They'd all be Halifax-based.
They're all Halifax-based. Okay, I just wasn't sure. Didn't tell much about the company. I guess it told some, but not enough to know where they're from. Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Councillor Palmer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just on that, it says coastal planning support program to support public engagements for the development of coastal policies and adoption strategy. I think that's should be public engagements for proposed development, because it's not that we're going to develop just because we're going out to the public. We're going to see if they're interested in. And if they're not interested, then we're not going further, so. But I think it should be proposed development.
I would
Thank you.
agree, yeah. Reading's important. Councillor Turner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is an important study that has to be, or a consultation that has to be done. It's, in terms of the coastal protection, it's been a real big topic in climate change. And so we're looking forward to see the input from the communities that are affected, particularly the coastal communities that are affected by climate change. So I think this is an important step forward, and I fully support this. Thank you.
Okay, and Warden Parker.
Just following up on what Councillor Palmer said there, like in the introduction, it says, as part of this initiative, MOPC is seeking proposals from qualified consultants to design and deliver a public engagement process that will help the municipality better understand community perspectives on coastal policy, climate adaptation, and coastal resilience. I think that's what we're asking them to do, is to go out to the public. Yes, they have to design, deliver a public engagement process, but not a coastal protection process that will help our municipality better understand where the community perspectives are on these issues. I'm not sure that that's what we're asking them to do, not to develop, unless there's something else I'm missing further down or whatever. The previous line says that the Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities, their program is to support public engagement for the development and coastal policies. All it says in the last sentence is that we're seeking proposals to ask for just what we want. You know, what is the public's opinion?
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Councillor MacDonald?
Was there a grant for, was there a grant for this already, like?
Yes, the grant is 24,000
Okay,
from NSFM.
thank you.
Okay. And a follow-up. Go ahead, Councillor Palmer.
Just on that, so I read it in the introduction, right? It says, Nova Scotia Federation must establish a coastal planning support program to support public engagement for the development of coastal policies and development strategies. That's in the introduction, right? So that's why I said proposed development.
Just for clarity, we're going out to the public to determine whether or not there's interest to move forward with coastal protection.
Yes,
Correct.
That's all we're doing.
yes. I just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure that's what it was.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what we
Okay.
applied for the grant. That's what we're doing. Yes,
Yes. We're going to see if the public it's something that the public wants
correct.
before we move ahead with it. Okay. Everybody satisfied? Seeing no further comments and questions, do we have a motion? We do. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, nay. Motion carried. Next, we have an employee internet policy. A recommendation has been put forward from the Rural Broadband Governance Committee to offer municipal employees a discount on MOPC network service. And that policy is in your package. Pretty straightforward. Any comments or questions on that? Go ahead, Councillor Boyles.
Do we offer our residents, like low income or anything like that, do we offer them a discount on our services?
Answer that, Rhiannon?
So we do that.
You do
It's
do
called the Affordable Access Plan. We had passed it in council over a year ago now, so it is up on the website. And it allows residents that have a verified household income of 30,000 or under, following the same dollar thresholds that we use for our low-income tax reduction policy. And they can access whatever service is available to them for $34.99 a month.
Well, it's, you know, a good thing I can understand, but 34,000, you say that they, anything if they make under 34,000?
The current limit is 30,000.
30,000.
Under 30,000, yeah, for the household.
So, I mean, I'm just wondering, I think our employers make a lot more than 30,000, you know, and it just, I just wonder, you know, how it will go over with the public, but that's, you know, my concern is.
Okay, Counselor Thompson.
Only question I have, is this a taxable benefit?
Want to answer that?
I can tell you the terms on which it is to be agreed to, so we're still writing the policy. At the broadband committee, it was discussed why we would do that, what the benefits are to the project, and why we would extend that. So part of the agreement that staff will have to sign in is that they also agree to be testers on the network. When we upgrade things, when we roll out new firmwares or softwares, they will also have to agree to participate in those services. So basically, we will also use that group as a group of friendlies, we would call them, to do any pre-testing that is required before you make any major changes on a network and a software rollout. So that was part of the agreed to terms around offering this discounted service.
Is it a taxable benefit? That's all I'm wondering. Is it this gonna cause, will this cause a headache? I don't know if my
You're still
mic's
on.
on. Is it on?
Yep.
Will this cause a headache for our employees with CRA? That's like down the road.
Like any benefit, we would look at it, and if it meets the rules for a taxable benefit, then it would be applied as a taxable benefit. We do that for everything with employees, so we have to first have it, then we run the tests, what is a taxable benefit, right? So we do it with cell phones, we do it with pretty much anything, benefit plans, right?
Okay.
Are you
That's
done?
it? Yep, that's good.
Okay, perfect. Warden Parker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I support this policy. It's innovative, and I think that's what we want our internet people to be working on, is things that are innovative. It will, I think, encourage our employees to speak on behalf of our internet project, internet business, and I think that's important. And private business does this all the time. You know, you give your employees breaks on whatever it is you're selling or carrying or whatever, and you know, hopefully that will be returned in positive comments and attitude from your employees out there with the general public. That's a common practice with almost every business. But also, I just want to mention that when we had our what is called planning priority session or whatever, one of the top 3 or 4 was to make sure that we treat our employees as good as we possibly can, because they are, you know, the beating heart of our business here or whatever business you're running. Yes, it's government, but it's, you know, if your employees feel like they're appreciated and on side with you, things go much better for whether you're running government or business. And that was a decision we made as a group, that was one of the, I believe it was top 4. So this, to me, fits into that whole pattern, where we do whatever we can for our employees within reason. And I'm glad to hear that and I thought we did support low income, and we certainly support our community halls with the internet program in various cases. And, you know, so there's always going to be, we have to keep income coming in too, make a business case out of it, but we can try and help certain groups and still maintain a good business. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Counselor Bailey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wasn't at the internet meeting when this here was discussed. If it probably was, I think I probably would have voted nay onto it for the simple reason when I switched from Bell to MOPC internet, I saved about $50. So I would say that I was probably paying about the average of everybody else. So if they do switch to our internet, they do save money right up front there. I guess we have so many people out there that want the internet, and even now, since we changed from 50 megabytes to 1 gig, which I have no problem with, but a lot of people do, and some people have even gone as far as to drop it. So I guess I can't support it because I think we pay our employees very well, and just by switching over alone, they should save at least, well, at least up to $50. It may be some, may be less than that, but I figure I was about the average on my internet, and I saved 50, so thank you.
Counselor Boyles.
I'm just a little confused. I'd like to get something straight if I could, so I know myself. I've been always told, since I come on council, that we have one employee, and that is Brian. And I'm just wondering what we're calling everybody else employees. Are they our employees, or are they Brian's employees, and we're just tell Brian what we want?
Well, I think this here directly refers to the all employees of the municipality. We only do have Brian as our, that we can direct. We cannot direct any other staff or administration. That is correct, Councillor Boyles. So I just, clarification, how does this, coming back to the internet policy? How does that tie, I'm just a little confused. Going back to the internet policy? Yes, okay. Councillor Wyden, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just my understanding is that we're giving Brian permission basically to give this benefit to the staff. But just to clarify why I supported this at the meeting we had was because I thought it was a way to get some of the network tested, and if they do run into glitches or problems, the staff would know, like they're testers, so they're going to know what issues they're running into. And I don't think, I know I worked for a telco for 30 years. I know we were all given a benefit to take their services for the very same reason, to make sure we knew what kind of service was out there. At the time, it did matter, not so much so now. But anyways, I think it's a benefit to the employees, and it's a benefit to the MOPC network, so that's why I supported it.
Okay. Councillor Turner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm in full support of this policy. The value that I see in it is more in the beta testing of services that are going to be being rolled out. I know there's a financial consideration that has to be made as well, and I've weighed that, and I think that the value that we're going to get out of the beta testing before it rolls out to public is well worth the effort. So, you know, it says here in the policy, the employees are going to act as knowledgeable ambassadors for the municipal broadband project. If they can get knowledge through using the internet and have it at a reduced price, that makes sense to me. So they identify opportunities for service improvements. So that's one of the big things that I see in terms of the value of adopting this policy, is that we can have a subset of people that are looking at this service that we're providing, look at it and say that we can improve here, this is not working. So there's a whole series of benefits that can be taken from this policy that will improve the internet service. So I think it's well worth the investment that's good for the cost savings that these people are going to have. So I think it's a good policy, and I'll fully support it. Thank you.
Okay, and Counselor Bailey. Sorry, right here.
Just a quick question, how many are we talking? Like, the ones in town would not be qualified for this, I presume, any that live in town, so it'd be just the ones in the rural area, is that correct?
As long as it can be serviced, whether by our fiber or our wireless network, we would intend to extend that benefit to all staff equally, as long as we can hit them.
You don't have any fiber in towns now.
We don't have fiber, but we do have the wireless.
Okay. And Counselor MacDonald.
I fully support it too. I mean, if we granted it to every employee, there were 30 or 35 employees. If we granted it to all of them, it's less than $1,500. And I mean, the research and that stuff will be very valuable and hopefully improve everything. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no further comments or questions, we have a motion, correct?
I'll move that be accepted.
Okay, so it's been moved and second. All right, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Nays, please raise your hands. 2 nays, Counselor Boyles and Counselor Bailey. Okay, motion carried. Okay, internet project update. Counselor Thompson has brought forward several questions he would like to have answered regarding the internet project. Information from the recent Rural Broadband Governance Committee meeting is included in the package, as well as questions that Counselor Thompson had forwarded to Brian. Okay, Brian's going to hand some papers out to us for further information. You can just pass them down. You can just pass them down. Are you speaking on this, or what's happening? Are you speaking on this? Yes. Okay. Okay, everyone's received a copy.
So what I handed out there is the projections based on a 30-year horizon for the project. The revenues are based on what we would project as the take-up rates for fiber and wireless. We use it's kind of a weighted average because there's overbuild versus areas where there's nothing in place. So it averages out to about a 58% uptake ratio based on current rates of where we start at $65. That is basically frozen for 5 years under our contract with the federal government. We're not allowed to increase our rates for the first 5 years. And then it's basically, from there on, it's basically increase by 2.5%, which is historically, if you go back 25, 30 years, that's your inflationary rate over time. So that just continues to grow. Same way with expenses. The expenses are basically inflated or added. There's inflationary costs to those each year. The bottom line for the project, if you flip to the last page, the net operating profit is $113 million. From that, you have to repay your capital. So right now, we're projected at 49 million would be the debt that we would borrow, and 49 million basically. Give me 2 seconds here. Adds 49 million. Interest costs are about 32 million on that over the 30-year period, and that's based on current municipal finance corp rates. So roughly 81 million that would be repaid or have to be repaid, and so that leaves about profit of we'll say 50 million, give or take, which also allows for the refresh on the network type thing. So from I guess a business case standpoint, the project still does show viability. The broadband committee, when they met back in June, there were recommendations to perhaps look at escalating the costs in a quicker, or the cost to the purchaser in a more aggressive manner than what this would show here. And basically that would help smooth some of the costs out, and to really kind of look, I guess, provide a cushion for future down the road. This model, as I say, doesn't do that in the first 5 years. It does it after 5 years. It does move it up, and it does, I guess our rates here are competitive. They're below market, what other proponents are, or other people are paying to the competition. Although you get some nuances from time to time in the local market, where like somebody like Eastlink will target specific neighborhoods and offer them a better deal, kind of thing.
You mean like run promotions?
Yeah, they run promotions, but they run them, well,
Targeted.
they're targeted and they're cheap, type thing. Cheaper than we may end up being, kind of thing. So we've looked at all the expenses, revenues. We've gone through the revenues. We've fine-tuned this numerous times. The numbers, I think, here are probably becoming more and more accurate as we continue to build. margin of error shrinks, right? So we know how many users we have. It's not guesstimates, it's actual, we know exactly how many civics we're passing. So we take that model, we take our, the way the revenues are basically built, we take what we have today, what our end target is, and to basically get there, you're at 60 months. Within 5 years, we would be at our maximum number of users, right? So, and then from there on, you basically win some, you lose some. It stays fairly flat. The changes in revenue are based on your increase in fees, which is industry standard. Your major incumbents are increasing by the cost of living on an annual basis, if not more. I think my last bill went up $20, which is probably closer to 10%, right? The one I just got. So, so that's where this model, it's probably more consistent across the board. So right now, the 113 does repay the interest and capital debt on the project. What we are looking at doing, and one of the things on the capital debt is just how we structure that to make it more, I'll say, palatable. So we'll look at things such as balloon payments type things. So with our debt, once we lock it in, we're pretty much, it's fixed. There's no early payment, so we basically have to structure our debt in a way that doesn't make us, in essence, cash poor. So we'll spread it out over a period of time. But the costing kind of reflects that. When I say the 32 million, it reflects that, that you have larger amounts due at the end, kind of thing. So that's the kind of the basic business plan. And as I say, it is based on a combination. So we are looking at right around 60% overall take-up between wireless and fiber, kind of thing. Yeah, and the other thing it does assume, the model basically does build out kind of in a consistent manner, like the number of units that we're adding are consistent, which doesn't necessarily tie back to reality because the system is coming on at different points. So, but we've made it uniform type thing. But at the end of the day, it's not going to make a big difference one way or the other because we're as of right now, as of July, we're ahead of schedule. So even by having it uniform, we're still ahead on our projections. So that's kind of the overall business plan that we have. So the costs, as I say, we've especially for the current fiscal, we've gone through all the expenses. The original business plan had 4.8 million in it, and we went back through that and we carved out significant. We're down to 3.8 million. So we looked at that, and some of it's timing issues when things would come on, whether we basically originally budgeted that's a true cost, but when you actually drill down, it's like, well, no, that cost is a January cost, so it's not 300,000. It's actually only a quarter of that. So we went through line by line and reallocated. So so those costs are fairly good that way, and so we're comfortable on that. That our numbers are good on the expense side, and if anything on the revenue side, they may be understated. And
The conservative, is that what you're saying?
yeah, in some cases they probably are conservative, especially on the commercial side. Voice and TV, those numbers are basically, the only change in those numbers is based on uptake. Till we get to a maximum point, we have not adjusted for any inflation on costs of those services, because at this point those are tied to outside vendors as well. So it right now we just know what the window is for the first 5 kind of thing. So we could have made assumptions there, but we didn't at this point. So that's the overall kind of business plan.
Counselor Turner, you had a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's more of a statement rather than a question. In one of the slides on the conclusion of the executive summary, number 2 is reduce operating expenses through mutualization. Sharing back office and operational functions with comparable networks can reduce costs by 20 to 35%. With no impact on local service quality, management should develop a plan with 90 days. So is that being looked at? Have we started that journey yet in terms of mutualization? Have we started that? And the second one was, the second point is number 3, is interest rates. Interest rates, have we come to a conclusion on how we're gonna approach interest rates? Those are my 2 observations, I guess. Thanks. Because that's going to have a huge impact on this project. Thanks.
So on the first question on kind of the, I guess, mutualization of costs, so we've started that conversation of looking where there may be synergies with other networks. So we've started that process. On interest costs, we are pursuing all avenues. The slide deck has the interest rate at 5.75. That's not what I have, I guess, in this business case. I've adjusted to the actual Nova Scotia rates as of this spring. So it's on average, it's about 1% cheaper, right? Right now. The spring rates were, and I've operated it on the basis of 15 years, but so it's about 4.35 for 15 years, 20 years 4.59, 25 years 4.73, and 4.8 for 30 years. So it's a little different than the 5.75. So we are, at this point, we're looking at that, those type numbers. The other thing we are pursuing is a program with the Canada Infrastructure Bank. So in essence, the Canada Infrastructure Bank loans money at 1%. So the mandate letter that was given to the Infrastructure Bank back when government was formed was that the Infrastructure Bank was to work with small rural communities on how we could advance infrastructure projects. So there's been a preliminary meeting held with them, and basically the answer was, we really don't have the mechanism in place. We know what the mandate letter is, but we don't have the mechanism in place yet. So that's being pursued. So we're actually meeting tomorrow with our federal MP on that issue, to get, to brief him on it. And then there will be a meeting arranged with I'm gonna say the president of the Canada Infrastructure Bank, which I would say will probably take place in the next month to 2 months. The difference is monumental. It's 1% type thing. So we are pursuing that aggressively, I guess. We'll say that, because that would totally change the numbers even more, right? Kind of thing. So.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Go ahead, Counselor Thompson.
I'll ask the questions once they're in the package. Looks like it's last Monday. There we go. So, I guess for me, this project lacks context for me. And that's what my list of questions were. So I'm going to read the questions, and I want this read into the record. And I would like some answers, just simple answers as to these questions. We received a document during our budget sessions that I asked a question if we could review it. It was on the fixed cost of the project. And I still like a full review of the fixed cost document that was provided to us for the operations of the internet company. The projections for this year, as we complete the build out, is the total fixed operational cost going to stay at $3.4 million, or as when the project gets fully built, will that incrementally go up? Because my understanding is the bigger your project area, the more you serve, the more it costs. What is the answer to that question?
So the answer, it's not that way. The costs will go up. Like, there are inflationary pressures that will be on the costs, right? Mm-hmm. But the overall infrastructure and stuff that we have in place is really, whether we have one person on it or we have 5,000, right? Yeah. So a lot of those costs will not change. So there is a bit of a, if we look at the first sheet that I handed out to you tonight, we go from 3.8 million to 4.7, right? So some of those costs are directly related to the completion of the build. So as we add, in this last year of construction, we're adding 1,200 homes, or we're adding 250 kilometers. There are costs associated with that. Pole attachments, so as we complete, we're paying $23.80 per pole, right? So those costs will go up between this year and next year, and then after that, it's just normal inflationary pressure. So when we get kind of to that complete build, it really does just become inflation. So that goes up, kind of thing. So I don't think there's a such thing as a fixed cost, really. A lot of things are variable to some degree. But we know there are certain things that are fixed, but a lot of it is, I guess, it will vary from year to year. I guess it's the only way I can answer it. So when we look at the projections, it's basically the big jump between this year and next year is, a lot of it is in the additional costs that we will incur in the field. So a big portion of that is pole attachment fees, things of that nature.
So, thank you. I want to run through the list of questions because I want them to answer in open public forum so I can get a sense of where we're going. What was the start date for this internet company? When did we charge our first customer?
I'm gonna say fiscal '22. I might be off, but
There was minimal charges that started at the end of, 22. It would have been late in 21, calendar year of 21, when we started charging customers.
Okay, so my next question on that list is, how much revenue has the internet company generated by each fiscal year? And I'd like to know in the most recent fiscal year, I'd like you to also break out the month by month revenue for the internet company. Is there a chance I can get that information?
you would have that already in the annual financial statements.
Okay, can I get it all on one page with each year on it? Is that possible?
Yep, we can do that.
So how many homes are now serviced by fiber?
Give me 2 seconds here. Currently, we have 1,697
Homes serviced or
active
customers?
active customers.
How many homes do we go by with fiber? Not the customers, how many homes do we run by? Have we gotten by so far with our capital project?
Fiber. 5,546.
So with that number, what's the percentage that you're estimating of completion of the fiber? What is that number now?
So I would say that's roughly 75.
75% of the homes are the fibers now up and ready for service,
Yeah,
is
so
that
it's-
correct?
It's basically 5,500 divided by 8,800, whatever that equals.
8,800, it was 12,615 a year ago. We were going to serve 90% of the addresses.
That's everything, though. That's wireless, and we only have 12,000.
There's 14,055 households and addresses in Pictou County from 2022 data. This is from Digital Ubiquity's presentation from last year.
That 1697, that's just fiber, that's not wireless, or is that both combined?
The 8,800?
No, that 1697 served, is that just fiber? Or is
That's
that-
fiber.
That's not wireless,
No, that's just fiber.
that's just fiber.
So we have roughly 62% of civics passed for fiber
Okay.
as of now, as of July 16th.
Okay, as far as the county, as the areas of the county served, can you break it down by number of households in each district who are served with fiber running past them now that's they can hook into? What I'm looking for is I want to know how many customers in each district have access to the fiber now. That's what I'm looking for.
We can prepare that for you.
Okay.
We would bring that information in-house to our own GIS and have him apply that against the actual districts, and he can produce the accurate reports that are specific to each district.
And make sure it's broken out by fiber and wireless, if you could, please.
Absolutely.
And I guess the question I have for my residents is, when will residents in District 11 have, I know they have access to wireless now, but when will they have access to fiber?
There are areas, I believe, in your district now that have.
Where's that? See, I need context. I'm not getting reports.
Current
guess-
fiber for your area runs through Blue Mountain, the section of Blue Mountain that runs into your area. That's where it is today.
Okay, but if I could get that number for the whole district, because there's lots of people that are waiting, so that would be helpful. And I don't have an answer for them when they're gonna get fiber. So the other thing that we keep talking about is the pricing structure for internet. Is there a way that we can get a one-pager on what it will cost for internet for each tier? Is that possible to get that on a one-pager for fiber, and both fiber and, I guess, wireless as well?
We can definitely provide that. I would highly recommend, if you haven't done so recently, to do a review of our website. It's been recently overhauled, and there's a lot of data and information and service information on there that wasn't previously. So it is a really good central source for all of the information, but we can certainly pull that right off.
Okay, thank you. And how does our pricing structure compare with the private internet providers today? Like, are we constantly scanning what the private providers are doing? Or are we just basing it off of what they did a year ago?
So it's constantly reviewed.
Can I at the next meeting, can I get a one-pager on a market analysis of pricing structures for both comparables for fiber from Eastlink or high-speed internet for Eastlink, Bell, any other private providers, along with our service as well, if I could?
Yeah, I think it does say this in the report that was sent out. The sector benchmark is 85 to 120,
Okay.
and we're at 65.
Is that all comparable in speeds? No, that's what I want to know, because there's different, I know how internet companies work, and they price things in a tricky way, so I just want.
There's nobody that
comparables.
would be, ours is comparable to any of the providers. We're offering 1 gig of service. The other providers are probably, I would say, some of them are not capable of actually doing that.
Okay,
Yeah, just further on that, Andy, just our prices typically, when we set those, what we've done is our prices are typically the same or less than the larger providers' promotional prices. So when you see the prices they advertise, that's, your 12 months, et cetera, and it goes far beyond that. Our prices right now are still mostly below all of the promotional pricing.
and I guess I have another question that sort of came up in the discussion here about interest rates. When you originally forecasted this project out, what did you base your interest rate on? Was it that 4.5 or 4.75, or was it like near, because I can remember a conversation where the prime rate, bank rate was near 0% during the pandemic to stimulate the economy. So what were you basing the interest rate on with your original projections?
Yeah, so interest rates, when we did the original projections, were anywhere from, on the coupon rates, going from 1.5 to a little over 3 over the 15-year period. So they averaged probably out to about 2.75 in that range. That was basically pre-COVID. And then we know where interest rates went after COVID. So they did go up considerably higher. So right now, as I say, we're roughly the numbers I read to you earlier. So we would have been in the 2 range, and say 2.5 range, and now we're all-in costs of say 4.5. So it's about 2% the difference, type thing. So.
And I guess my last question for tonight will be, at last year's budget meeting, we had at the very end of the budget meeting, we had a very, a motion put on the floor. It was unexpected at the time, but we put a motion in the past to apply any of our surpluses to the debt on the internet project, the operational losses. Did we just bake that into the budget this year, or is that going to come back to the council for us to approve a motion to allocate any surplus funds to cover operational losses?
That was not, just for clarification, that was not the motion that was made. The motion that was made last year was to transfer, we had a surplus amount in our general operating budget. It was to transfer that amount to help offset some of the interest costs. So it wasn't that every surplus that the county makes would be transferred over. That wasn't the motion. It was a one-time transfer.
So is that going to happen again, is what I'm asking? Are we going to get surprised again at a council meeting that we're going to have to take our surpluses that typically go into reserves for projects, and we're going to apply it to what you just mentioned?
But we're not, what you're portraying is not what's happened. That's not what happened. It's not taking a surplus. It was a budgeted amount to be put over. That's not a surplus. That's an expenditure.
Okay. But I guess it's semantics, okay? What I'm asking for is, are we going to make that decision again this year?
Ultimately, that would be a decision of council.
But we haven't made it. It wasn't baked into our budget, correct?
Correct. There's a line in the budget to transfer monies to reserve.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you. All right, Warden Parker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have no problem with the questions asked here and the answers given. I'm just pleased to hear a number of things, and one is the sheets that Brian handed out that show that after 2 or 3 years here, we go into the positive side, and that yes, we have some negatives in the first 3 years, then you use your positives to offset those negatives. You gradually pay those off, and after another 3 years, then those are all paid off. We're not going to take the money out of taxpayers' money. We're going to take it out of the business here. And I'm also pleased to hear that people want it in these areas where they don't have it yet. And I've heard that same in my area. Sylvester, up over Green Hill, areas in Durham and whatnot that haven't been serviced yet. There were pieces and parts that didn't fit into the main schedule. When it was done, they'll come back, and that's what I've been telling people. They'll come back and they'll finish those as we get near the end. But the people in Councillor MacDonald's area, I've certainly heard from some of them as to what's the holdup here. Why can't we get this? We want it, and I'm glad to hear they also want it in District 11. And I was glad to hear that Councillor Bailey saved money on his, because that sends a message to the rest of the people that when we started this project, there was three things we wanted. We wanted everybody to be able to get high-speed internet, that it was a necessity of life now, not a luxury. And we weren't getting it in a lot of our areas, so now we are, and no wonder people want it, because it's also a quality service. Yes, it's a gig, but it's a gig for $65 or whatever, and so before we were talking 50 megabytes or something. So it's good service, it's service to everybody, and it had to be at a reasonable price. And so we have those three things. We got a ways to go yet to finish, to get to everybody, but I'm just glad we had these questions tonight and got them answered, because it sheds some light on how well things are going. And I want to give a lot of that credit for where we're at. First of all, to Brian. Wayne and I have met with him every week pretty well. This is one of the main topics. How's the internet going? And also to Rhiannon, doing a great job at the marketing of this, and marketing is a big part of any business. And it's just also to Scott and Ian and the fellows out in the field. There's a lot of good work being done here, and we need to be proud of that, I think, and proud of the fact that someday down the road, when none of us are here, certainly not me, it will be turning money out to help pay, to help keep us from getting our tax rate too high. So there's a lot to be celebrated here, so I'm glad this came forward tonight, so we got a chance to show just how much is wanted, how much is needed, and how much is going to help this county move ahead. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, Councillor Bailey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Brian, I know I could ask these here, just a couple of questions, and I could ask them at the committee level and get it, but anyway, I'll ask them here. First of all, I like your projections. I always believed in all your projections that you've done. They have worked very close to the figure for the ones that became a reality, especially if you look at the wellness center. When you consider it was 35 years, and it looks like we're going to have it paid off maybe in a little over 20. So, and which include the hospital. So, I guess the question is you're projecting roughly 60% take up, and I think we're probably somewhere around 30 now. Is that, when you see that 60, is that not until 2056, or is it?
So we basically max out by year 5. So we
Okay.
go to the 60%. So our real push is really the first 5 years. It's to build it within the 5 years. So when we look at the growth, and I look at kind of the projections, and we're adding about 60 customers a month is what we project. We probably have the capacity to do double that or close. We'll say 100 easily, but we project basically that if we have 60 people wanting it, we can hook them up. We have the capacity to actually do that. So could we build it up quicker? Potentially. Hit that target faster. That's where we'll hold somebody else's feet to the fire on that. So that's what it is. It's basically
You're saying
within 5 years.
2031.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, this year, I'm not counting this as year 1 because we're still building, so
okay.
it would be fiscal 27 would be the start. So it's really by the end of 32, fiscal 32, we would have it at the
the
top.
second thing is we have 2 providers, and I know this would have to go to the committee also, but have we ever thought of dropping them? Is that an expense that we're paying? I mean, for them to basically put the rotor into the house, and that's it? I mean, it's the cost of the rotor, but I mean, how much are we paying them per hookup? If I was with TNC, how much of my $64.95 would be going to TNC?
Yeah, so we basically charged them $48.50 to North Nova Cable. TNC does their own work, so it's $45 for them. No, I guess, sorry, it averages out. So we're charging 45 plus 10 to North Nova people, and 45 to TNC because they do the install work themselves. So the difference is, ultimately, the more people that are MOPC customers, the better, because we're charging $65, that full 65 comes to us. What we're seeing in terms of trends is we are basically capturing probably 70% of all new hookups for a few reasons. The telephone and TV are only available if you're on our network type thing. So we kind of have that bundle advantage. So what we project here right now is that we will eventually have 70% of the market. We could have more than that, but right now we max out, and we basically, the way the model is built, we jump 5% each 5th year. We could hit that 70% within a year and a half, but we're saying it's really 25 years out before we hit that type thing. So the decision for those companies to stay on the network is really theirs, right? Whether or not there is a business case for them to do it. The one thing I would say with probably most fiber installations is you install it, and in most cases you never have a problem with it. So that $12, $13 a month per person.
That's pretty good.
There's not a whole lot of support that goes into it, right?
Yeah.
So.
And having dealt with some of the hiccups that we had at the campground getting combined in, I can tell you it's quick for TNC to blame us. So if they're saying that to me, you can bet they're saying it to everybody. But anyway, just for information's sake, I guess that's all I got. I don't know if I'll be alive or not in 2049 to see if your projections are right or not, but God, I hope they are.
We'll let you know.
Okay, and Counselor Boyles.
Yeah, just, we're on the internet now. I'd just like to know, maybe Rand can tell us that the Anderson's Mountain, is it up yet? And when can District 9 look at getting services?
So, Anderson Mountain Tower is actually up now. The last we left, Nova Scotia Power was doing tree clearing and running their lines. So the fiber is already at the tower. At this point in time, we are just waiting for the power work to be done to bring the tower online. So we would estimate that being available by early fall. Could be better, but if a realistic, actual available to customers, I'll say early fall. You're welcome.
Okay. And last but not least, Deputy Warden Murray.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We certainly got a lot of good information here tonight, and Brian did a wonderful job getting this together. I'd just like to make some comments that we started this project 10 years ago by a majority vote around this table. And then on the second phase, we had another majority vote around this table to continue it. And the third one was to finish it. And I think everybody around this table should try and support that to take us all together. You can certainly see here in 30 years' time, it's a good project for sure. And we certainly got some great people. Now we have our broadband committee. We got 5 counselors on it. We got 2 outside board members. One is experienced in accounting. The other is experienced in the network itself with another company, I believe. And then we got digital ubiquity, whatever you call them, DUC. And we got our own staff, Rhiannon and Scott, and certainly Brian. And we got a lot of acknowledge that comes to that meeting. And if there's something gonna go sour, we're gonna hear about it before anybody else does. And it's not gonna happen, I don't think, I can't say that. So I think we all gotta get behind this project and support it to the end and see what benefits that's gonna come to the county, because it's certainly gonna help the tax rate. That's all I have to say, thank you.
Okay. Hearing no more, we'll move on. Valley View Villa RFP update. Councillor MacDonald, you had asked to put this on the agenda. Just wondering if the RFP was issued for the former Valley View Villa.
Turn myself on. No, but it will be issued this week. I did meet with the administrators a couple weeks ago. They had a couple of points for me to address, so I said I would do that, and I'll have that out this week. So probably close in 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Okay. All right, we'll move along to municipal service grant funding. Councillor Palmer, I wanted to put forward a resolution that municipal service grant money be released before the budget is approved.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I put this on the agenda because I thought it was there, but I guess the motion was just for that fiscal year. It happened back in 2023 that we got our minister's grant money before the budget was approved. So this year our budget was approved in 1st of July, and money will start rolling out pretty quick after the budget. But the summer is, half gone too. So a lot of these community groups like to see their money sooner than later, because a lot of it is to get things done when the weather's good and things like that. So I like to see us to change our policy and include that in the policy, that we can get our administrator's grant money prior to the approval of the budget, and if there's any increase or decrease in the amount, that is, like currently it's 300,000, if there's any increase or decrease in that, then it'd be done for the next fiscal year during budget time. So I'll make that a motion.
Okay, we have a seconder on that motion. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Deputy Warden Murray. Go ahead, Warden Parker.
Just one question.
Sorry.
Sorry.
One question, Madam Chair. When we say before the budget's passed, is that, like, depending on when you hold your ratepayers meetings, is that after March 31st, or when's the earliest date you could get that money?
April 1st.
No, it'd have to go to finance committee meeting. So if you had your meeting in March, then it'd have to go to the April finance meeting, then could be paid out to council on 1st of May.
But it couldn't come before, your ratepayers meeting would have to come after the March 31st line, or?
No, you could have your ratepayers meeting anytime for that, for the current fiscal year. It's whenever you want to have it, as long as it's prior to the financial service committee meeting.
And once we get into the new year, that
New year.
financial services one. I just wondered what the earliest was, yeah. Okay.
It'd be May 1st, I think, budget, that would be approved at the council, so.
All right, as long as that's clear, okay. Thank you.
So just for clarity, the way we did it a couple of years ago, and it probably could have been continued. It was basically at the April council meeting, we passed a motion to transfer $300,000 from reserves in, and then when we approved the budget, it was a transfer back to reserves. It didn't show as an expense, it showed as a transfer back. So that's what we did 1 year, maybe 2 years, and then it just got missed the last number of years. So
Should that be your motion then?
we'd have to, the motion,
Should be.
The motion is first to staff look at
the policy needs to be rewritten. Yeah.
and bring the policy back to the council. That's really the motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll do that.
All right, seeing no further hands, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Any deferred business? Any deferred business? Motions of reconsideration. Okay, I'll open the floor up to community announcements. Go ahead, Deputy Warden Murray.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Wednesday, the 29th, is 57th year of the Scottish Spoon Pork Chop Barbecue, so it will start at, I think it's 4 o'clock, and it's all takeout, but there will be picnic tables set up around if you want to pick it up and stay there and eat, and you have to get your tickets, pre-buy tickets, so they can be bought at A&M Small Engines or any of the fire department members. So hopefully we'll have a good sunny day and a big turnout. Thank you.
Okay, Warden Parker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As many of you are aware by now, I just want to announce it here too, that there was a good announcement for the Salem area today. And I know the Deputy Warden was there in the church with us, and my brother, Councillor Donnie Parker, was there. Our CAO, Brian, and Logan was there as well. This was a long, long time coming. It's been on our list here, our capital list, for several years for the wastewater project in Salem. And our MP, Sean Fraser, announced 2.35 roughly, I think, million. And we've had the money in the bank for a year and a half, I think, the provincial money. For, what was the number on that? Do you remember, Brian?
1.6, I think.
1.6. And we had agreed before that we would make up the difference, the balance of that. And so the people there are quite looking forward to this happening, and it's certainly been shovel ready. I told them today the shovels are getting a little rusty. They've been sitting there that long, but Brian said today that the tenders are ready to go out. And so again, I just want to thank everybody on this council and previous councils for supporting this project. It's been a long haul, and hopefully it looks like we're getting near the end of it, and it should open up that area, which is the major reason for giving these grants at the federal level for housing. It's in an ideal spot. I know we mentioned here before that Thorburn was an ideal spot for housing, and it is, and Salem is, and we have quite a few ideal spots, but not all of them have water and sewer, and that's what holds people back from building housing if they have to have too big of an acreage. So again, very pleased to with the announcement today, and again, thank you for support of the people around this table.
Councillor Parker?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just going to repeat what I said at their last council meeting. This Sunday, July 26th, the Waterville Recreation Club's having an open house. It's the first time they've been open in like 14 years, and they're inviting anybody and everybody in the community and surrounding areas to come on out. Free hot dogs and refreshments. I'm just reading it off the Facebook page, but it's a great announcement to have that hall opening up again, because it's up in a corner of my district. There's no community halls anywhere handy. Probably Millbrook, maybe quite a ways off. After that, the West River Fire Hall, perhaps. So it's a great thing. So anybody and everybody come on out and enjoy the time. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Councillor MacDonald.
Yeah, the Burns River Museum is having their Christmas in July concert on Sunday the 26th in the afternoon, and August 8th is Fun Fest at the American Mission Community Center. Thank you.
Okay, and I have one too. As I said last time, it is the annual lobster dinner fundraiser for the Caribou District Fire Department. It is Saturday, August 8th. It's $20 each, takeout only, pre-order only. This sells out, so if you plan on getting a lobster dinner, please do so ASAP. It's a pound lobster, homemade potato salad, coleslaw roll, tomato and cucumber, and dessert. Like I said, you have to pre-order 759-0686. Okay. All right, well, seeing no other, oh, did you have something to add, Warden Parker? You go right ahead, and then we'll go for adjournment.
It's hard to wait to the end because I already had one. This Sunday coming, just to compete with Donnie's District 7, on August the 26th, there's what they call Music in the Park at the Sarah, Salem and Area Recreation Association, the old ball field in Salem. There's some good country music with a band there, and we have local fiddlers and a number of other things taking place. The fire department's going to be there with the barbecue and everything, so there'll be lots of good time for anybody that wants to come and hear some good music and some good fiddling. That starts at 1, I believe. Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no more community announcements, I thank you all, and I declare this meeting adjourned.
Just need to flip some people around here. Randy, you're there.
Wow, start the car.
Oh, here we go. Delegate seating. Randy, you go there. Who's next to you? Wayne. Who's next to you? Darla is there. Robert is there. Right. Start meeting. Did that work? Oh, look at that, it worked. What? Everybody wants to sign in. I can sign them in. If you want to start, I can sign in.
Okay, I'll call the property service meeting to order. First, I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we're on the Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Is there any emergency resolutions? Is there any emergency resolutions? Is there any emergency resolution? Seeing none? The approval of the agenda. Moved by Councillor Turner, and second by Councillor Boyles. Okay. Is there any, okay, next is the errors, omissions, corrections to the minutes of June 15, 2026. Is there any errors, omissions, corrections? Any errors, omissions, corrections? One more time, any errors, omissions, corrections? Seeing none, we'll consider those minutes approved. Next is June 15, 2026, in-camera minutes. Is there any errors, omissions, corrections to those minutes? Any errors, omissions, corrections? One more time, any errors, omissions, corrections? Seeing none, we'll consider those approved. There's no correspondence, so next is reports not requiring a motion. First is Director of Public Works and Development. Councillor Turner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Abercrombie Sidewalk Revitalization. Could you explain to me, the project team has an ongoing correspondence with residents and businesses. Could you explain what you mean by that, please?
Thank you for the question. Through you, Mr. Chair. We've had ongoing correspondence with various people throughout the project. The most significant in the recent month was some business owners around Abercrombie Variety, in which situation we were able to find a solution that was agreeable to all parties, and so that was basically that. We field questions from residents and businesses, and they're frequently, and we're just looking to keep people abreast of what's going on.
Okay. Are people generally satisfied with the the way that it's going, that you've talked to?
People are happy with how the work is looking when it's been completed, by and large. They're not happy with the timelines in particular, and have been some issues, in particular in this past month, with access and egress. We think that we've gotten those resolved as well, and we are expecting the project to be completed by the end of the month, so next week.
Okay, and as those concerns been conveyed to the contractor as well?
Yes, yeah. So every concern that comes through is communicated by me directly through to our contractor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Warden Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the same subject, I received, several correspondence, and particularly concerned about the timeline for sure, that it's gone on way too long. But also the one that concerned me as much was safety, that there's a number of safety practices that aren't being implemented or we're not making sure they're being implemented is what I'm only going by what I'm told in these correspondence, but and some of them were listed. But are they being addressed, or have you heard of those?
Thank you for the question, again, through you, Mr. Chair. I was made aware of some traffic control concerns a little bit earlier in the project that I spoke with the contractor about, and those were addressed with their subcontracted traffic control company in keeping with provincial traffic control management practices. So those were the most significant that we were made aware of. In addition, we had one last week related to an access and egress concern associated with a property near a private property residence near the self-storage facility that's sort of tucked in behind, that's not easily visible from the road, who thought that they were maybe missed in the planning. So I made sure to coordinate that with the contractor, who made sure that there was always emergency access and egress at all times. So those were the most significant ones that I was made aware of that we had to address. And if there are any more, I'd be happy to get in touch with the residents as well.
Through you, Mr. Chair, there was also concerns about the quality of the work. I understood maybe from a couple of these letters that this might have been a first-time contractor for us, and is there, and to the best of your knowledge, any concerns about the quality of the work?
No, not to date. I did have an email last week from somebody concerned with the quality of the work, and about a month or so ago from a company who also does concrete work. However, the company that we hired is accustomed to doing concrete work. They've done it in the past, and the work that I've reviewed myself, I don't notice any deficiencies in. And at the end of the project as well, we'll review the project as a whole and make sure that everything's up to our standard, in keeping with our design requirements and our standard specifications as well.
And I know with paving, there's a certain amount of warranty. Is there any warranty on a sidewalk when they finish the job, or are they just gone then?
We didn't establish any warranty period in the contract for this work. However, it would be expected that any deficiencies, like in any contract, would be addressed before final payment was made. So we'll take a certain holdback until such a time as we're satisfied that the work is up to our standards. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Councillor Thompson.
Blue Acre sidewalks, the options for solar lighting fixtures have been received. Pricing for these solutions have been requested. Do we have any information, or when should we expect that?
Thank you for the question, again, through you, Mr. Chair. I sent a new request for those quotes last week, and I still haven't heard back. So we received information on the light standards available or recommended, but they didn't include pricing in that. So we've asked for that pricing, and we followed up with them as recently as last week, and we'll continue to do so. And I would expect that we'll get that sometime over the next week or so, and be able to report that back here.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Dorr.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The one I'm interested in is number 12 on your report. I knew there was some stuff going on, but it seems that there seems to be more going on than what I had any idea. Draft tender for possible site development, and why would McFarland be involved in that? I thought he was just New Scotland, so I want to hear some information about that.
All right, thank you for the question, Councillor Dewar. I had a meeting with Mr. McFarland a week and a half ago about some other items, and he had just asked me whether or not we were moving ahead with that RFP, and I said we haven't really moved on it for some time, and he provided a sample letter that he uses in some of his agreements for letters of intent. So that's what that update would be related to. Nothing would be obviously advanced any further beyond that until it was brought to municipal council for consideration on whether or not council even wants to consider moving down any further in that process. But that's the extent of the conversations to date. It's just Mr. McFarland and I had a conversation, and he followed up with a draft letter of intent that he's used on other types of developments.
Okay, well, it just seems different in the way it's wrote. I'll be paying attention to see what comes out of that, because I certainly don't want, and neither do the people in District 12 want a whole bunch of stuff in that field there, I don't think. If it means we have to get a petition to keep it from happening, maybe we'll have to do that. But anyway, I just was really surprised to see his name in there. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Thompson, are you? You know? Your light's on. Okay, we'll move on. Development Officer's Report. Any questions? Next is the Streetlight Report. Seeing none, we'll move on to the GIS Report. The Emergency Services Report. Councillor Boyles.
Yes, I'd just like to check with Evan and see, like, we had some reports in Hillside about some white foam coming out into the from Nova Scotia Power, and it's happened a few times now, and so I was just wondering if Evan could give us any update on what's going on and see what we can do to have it checked to see what is coming out of there.
Sure. So I did receive that inquiry from you, I guess it was last week. So I reached out to the contact that I have in Nova Scotia Power, and he explained to me that it's due to the boiler taking in cool water in through the boiler, expelling warm water that's sort of dropping over the edge into the water, and it creates this foam as it mixes with air. And that's the foam that you see sort of traveling down the river. He likened it much to like the Melmerby Beach. If you ever see foam built up around the edges of the water, that's from the cooler waves crashing over the warmer water and mixing with air, and it creates that foam. So that was the answer that I received from Nova Scotia Power.
Just wondering if is there any way, like, I think it's a federal that fisheries look after that, isn't it? Or whoever looks after it, provincial or federal?
It could be perhaps the Department of Environment that may look after that. I'm not entirely sure.
I know
it could be a federal agency as well.
I know one time we had to get the feds to come in and check on it there one time, but it's to say we're sort of taking it Nova Scotia Power at their word of this is what's going on, and I can remember, I don't know if anybody else remembers, but one time we had the foam and then we had the fish kill right behind it. I mean, we had all kinds of dead fish around. So I think it's something that should be tested just to see, is it something they're doing they shouldn't, or as you say, is it just from a boiler putting the different water?
Sure, and as I said, it's far from my area of expertise in general, so I have to take Nova Scotia Power at their word, but I think if council wished to sort of explore that further, I'm sure there's an agency that would accept an inquiry on it, but I just don't know who else I would contact, like after Nova Scotia Power, so I'd leave it at that.
I think I'd like to make a motion that we turn it up again, that, that a letter be sent to the federal and the provincial departments of fisheries. And we have pictures too. We have lots of pictures. I even have more since I sent them to you. And to get just, if it is just, then we know it. And then that's the people can be assured that it's nothing more serious. So I'd like to make a motion that we send them a letter requesting that, they check the water and see just, is there anything going in, shouldn't go in it or not?
Okay, it's a motion. Is there a seconder? Okay, it was moved and second. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Count by nay. Motion carried. Next is the building officials report. Warden Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to make the comment that I was really impressed with that number, almost $8 million of construction on this report, and also the fact that it's spread over quite a few districts. Sometimes we'll have one big construction project in a district and put our number way up, but and there's also spread over commercial and industrial. As well, the biggest part of it is certainly single home construction, but I think it bodes well to have that much construction in our rural municipality, and we know that that's what saves us a lot of times when it comes to taxation rate is if we have enough new construction, that saves us from having to put the tax rate up. So just very impressed with that number, and hopefully it continues. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So we'll move on to business items that require action. So it's a boundary change in Maclellans Brook. It's actually in my district, and that house is at the end of the Campbell Lane. There's a cul-de-sac there that, and it seems fitting for that to be included in the Maclellans Brook area. So moved by Warden Parker.
Second it.
Second by Councillor McKeel. Any questions on the motion? Councillor McKeel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Obviously, the residents are aware of this, and because it says here it'll affect them they'll have to change their address and such. I just wanted to make sure that they're aware and they're supportive of that.
I do believe they are. Yeah.
Okay.
Jesus. Okay, it's moved and seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Count by nay. Motion carried. Is there any deferred business? Seeing none. Is there any motions of reconsideration? Not seeing any. I'll adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.
16:05.